Hello everybody, we're talking World Cup and we're talking Belgium specifically with Mr. Andy Brassell. I suppose the obvious question to begin with is, how have they produced so much good talent in the last few years, or however many years, Andy?
Well, it's extraordinary because they haven't got a comprehensive academy system like, say, you have in Spain, with mainly through Barcelona and Real Madrid or Clairefontaine in France. I think you've got to look at the strategic position within Europe. You know,
it's been a very strategic point for all sorts of reasons, hasn't it, in history?
But you get people coming from all over the world to stay there, and I think you feel that multinational influence in there as well. But I think as well you have to look at the fact that players, because of that, also have been cherry-picked for academies all over the place. So they're getting the benefits almost of loads of different countries' way of developing players. You know, you look at Eden Hazard, he's been in France since he was 14. You have Moussa Dembélé, who went to the Netherlands when he was 16. Likewise with Jan Vertonghen. So really, they're becoming adults. I suppose you could say like Cesc Fabregas growing up in the Premier League in a totally different environment.
It might be a slightly trivial point, but also the languages as well. They're probably bilingual. They probably speak, or understand a bit of Dutch and French, so they more happily go and play in those countries. Yeah,
I think you can definitely see that. That's important on a level of confidence as well. I mean, everyone remembers Romelu Lukaku's debut performance when he signed for Chelsea, and he did that press conference in Cobham together with a catatonic Oriol Romeu, who just I think had one sentence, which was "He's my translator." Yeah. While Lukaku chatted away for ages. You couldn't shut him up in English, of course, and he was only 18 then.
Absolutely incredible. So they've got fabulous individual players, as we know, Company, Hazard, Lukaku, just to name a few. But they've had decent players for a few years now, not too many, but a few years. But this time around, it seems to have gelled. Yeah. Well, it has gelled. I mean, they were brilliant in qualification.
And I think Company is a very important part of that. I think if you go back to when, say, Hazard, for example, was first coming into the setup, they were a bit intimidated by that sort of talent, and there was a gulf between the senior players and the junior players who were coming through, and I think there was a bit of suspicion of him because he hadn't grown up as a footballer in the country as well. George Lekens, the guy who preceded Mark Wilmots, didn't really know how to use him correctly, and he didn't score for his first 20 internationals, which showed you have that sort of problem. But I think now, they've still got quite a young team, but players, especially like Company and Vertonghen, they've become the senior players.
Yeah, that's right.
So now there's more of a togetherness in the dressing room because of that, and I think that's very important. You get the impression they're all pulling in the right direction. And people can say they haven't got much tournament experience because, of course, some of those guys have been through the Olympics together. Fellaini, Company, Vertonghen together, and I think it's not the same, but it's going to help.
But do you think that lack of experience in the tournament with some people will make a difference? I mean, people have said, if we very briefly drop England in there, there's only a handful of players in that squad that have got previous tournament experience, which doesn't personally worry me as an England fan, obviously. So will it matter, do you think, for Belgium?
I don't think it should, if they're going to overthink it, because they've got quality, they've got togetherness. And I think
there's a lot of expectation on that.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
But a crazy expectation, really.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because we see so many of those players doing it in the Premier League.
Do you think it is just a Premier League factor then?
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of it because it's a league that people see all over the world. So that's why people are enthusiastic about these talents. And it's quite understandable. But I think they'll go there thinking we can enjoy ourselves. They've got a good, exciting group with Russia in it as well. But they're going to be looking to win that, and of course if they do win that and say Portugal finished second in the Germany group, Belgium versus Portugal in the last 16,
there you go.
Come on.
Hey, that leads us neatly round there, doesn't it? Well, Andy, great to chat to you as always. Do get your comments in below, and find us on Twitter @BallStreet. Let us know how you think Belgium are going to get on.